This video is to specifically reference MLA citation expectations within Unit 1, Activity 5, Writing a Literary Essay. You will see in Unit 1, Activity 5, that there is an assessment of a 1,000 to 1,500 word essay in which you will answer the question, which character's fatal flaw is more detrimental to the character's demonstration of resiliency, Oedipus or Hamlet? If there's a chance that you looked at this before this particular video, that essay question has changed, as the other one was too simplistic. And a quick search, I was able to find over 14,000 examples of essays that you could download and submit. So I've decided to make it a little bit more complicated in order to truly understand the comparison between these two pieces. So we will be using both Oedipus and Hamlet, and we will be determining through our essay the idea of an examination of the fatal flaws in one or both characters to understand which was detrimental to their resiliency or their ability to demonstrate resiliency within the play. In order to properly examine these and present them within our papers, we need to ensure that we understand MLA citation. In Unit 1, Activity 1, I showed you very quickly how to use EasyBib within a Google Doc. You are welcome to use whatever citation generator or program that works best for you for formatting. I wanted to make this video to show you, number one, that in order to complete a works cited with just 2 of the texts, I have open all of these tabs at the top. I needed to look up how to cite Shakespeare. I needed to look up in-text citation, and I needed to look up the texts that we will be referencing within our essays. And it took quite a bit. So I want to review that so that you know where the resources are or what you should be doing for MLA citation. And the reason that I'm presenting this before I get into the outline of the essay is because you need to be thinking of it or develop it within your document so that every time you use a quote or a reference from the text or from the play, that you are thinking and ensuring that you have MLA citation covered. Remember that in any essay that you are writing, including a literary essay where we are not necessarily copying and pasting and plagiarizing ideas, we are using quotes and references from these plays. However, at any level, in any place, if you are caught plagiarizing, which is not giving credit to the author who wrote that play or wrote that source, then it is plagiarism. You can be given a 0. In university, from personal experience, I was in a program that was very competitive, and I had friends in engineering, and this is a famous story that you can even look up. If you want to look up Carleton University, engineering students plagiarism, and you will find out the consequences for plagiarizing and not citing sources. So it can have big consequences, and we just want to make sure that we're doing it and doing it properly. So let me show you what I have developed just to take you through with Hamlet and locating the source that we have of the text. When I clicked on this particular article, it came up with this. However, when I looked up how to cite Shakespeare, we very clearly need to have line numbers to state where that citation came from within the play. So we have act, scene, but we need line numbers. So when I look back to that source and I'm going through, there are no line numbers included in this text, and that is problematic. I would not expect in any way, shape, or form that you would count out lines. And so what we need to do is we need to find a copy of Hamlet that has those line numbers in it. What I have looked up and will email to you is from Folger Shakespeare, which is an official Shakespeare company. They publish books with the plays in it. And when I can click on each of the scenes, so say, for example, I know that to be or not to be happens in Act 3, Scene 1, that if I wanted to go through this, I can click on the act or scene or soliloquy that I would like to include. And here I have at the side lines. So what I could have is, as my reference, is Act 3, Scene 1, lines. If it was this one right here, it would be line 6. For including multiple lines, then we would count them down, and it would include a hyphen. So what does that look like within your essay? Let's for a quick second pretend that this is my completed essay. Here I have an introduction to something Hamlet says. In quotes, I have to be or not to be, and I have a slash because in Hamlet and Oedipus, we have lines where it's not a complete sentence, but we have lines to indicate that was the end of line 1 and that this is going on to line 2. So those little slashes simply indicate that. I have quotations around what it is that Hamlet said. And at the end, this is my in-text citation. I have the name of the play, act, scene, and lines that occurred, and the period goes at the end of that citation. So I will include all of these resources in an email to you so that you can go through them, or I may just post it in the news feed so that you have all the resources that you need right there. So here we have, if we are to write a paper about a tragedy, then we're going to use specifically the name of the play, act, scene, line. So let's remember in MLA citation that there are 2 parts that need to be included here. 1, we've given credit in text citation as to where this quote came from, but this has to match up with the work cited. So there are a number of ways that we can do this, but I'm going to show you within Google Docs, you have access to add-ons. I'm going to suggest using EasyBib because it's already built in. I have already added it to mine, but if you go to Get Add-ons and type in EasyBib, you can actually add it as a Google extension app. So let's see what that looks like when we go to create our works cited page. So I'm going to use this particular source so that I can know what act, scene, and line numbers, and you have to be consistent. If whatever source you use, that's the one you have to cite in your works cited page, and that needs to link to the line numbers that you have cited in your in-text. So just make sure that you're consistent with that, with whatever source you can use. You can use this one, or you can use any other source that has line numbers. I'm going to go back to Hamlet and go straight to the main page. Not sure if I'm able to do that. Act 3, Scene 1. That I had to quickly find just the Hamlet page, and we're going to use that as our citation. So I'm going to copy this, Control-C, and I'm going to flip over to my Google Doc, and I'm going to click Website, and I'm going to paste that in there. And what we're hoping for is that it comes up with the website. This means that someone else has also put in this particular play. We're going to select that. Here we have the play Hamlet from Folger Shakespeare, last updated. It would be good to check these particular pieces. I know that to be true, having gone through it, and here's the website. Here's what I love about EasyBib built into here is that I can simply click Add Bibliography to Doc, and it automatically formats it and puts it in here in works cited MLA format. So I'm going to hit it down a couple of spaces. Here's the second thing that I really, really like about this is that the next source that I put in is that it will automatically put it in alphabetical order, and it will also put it in the correct format and put it in for me. So it's a fantastic resource in order to be able to properly format MLA Citation. Move on to our next source. In Unit 1, Activity 3, we have access to the text Oedipus the King. When I open up, we can see that it was written by Sophocles. The title is Oedipus the King. It is translated by Ian Johnson. This is the key information, Ian Johnson in 2014. When I typed that information into EasyBib, it did not come up. So one extra thing that I wanted to point out is that you actually have tools in Google Doc that link to EasyBib already. If you go to Tools and Citation, we can actually enter that in independently because I was unable to come up with the actual text and the citation style. So I'm going to, it's not a book, it is a website. What we have here is a book that has been scanned and put on the internet for us to access. So let's go back here. It's a book accessed by a website, which VLE is. What we're going to do is we're going to click here and we're going to say translator, and we're going to put in Ian Johnston. And this is where it's really important to make sure that you have your titles correctly. So we have a contributor, we have a translator. The title is Oedipus the King, and we're going to scroll down. And we can enter some of this information if and as we have it. So let's go back to that copy. Oedipus the King, publisher is non-existent or not applicable. The year that this was published is 2014, minor revisions May 2015. So we're going to type in 2015 because that is the closest year that we have. We do not need dates, but we do need a city, Nanaimo, BC. Back a quick second, I realized that I didn't have the author. So here I have the translator, I added a contributor, and I put in the author as Sophocles. Even though it says S. Sophocles, I had to put in a first name, so I will edit that out once I go in. You could also look at the formatting and type it up yourself if you would like to do that too. You just have to look for, say, Owl Purdue and look up MLA Citation for a play. So I've typed in not applicable for publisher. I put in the published year, the city, and that's as much information as I have. The challenge here is that we are accessing actually a PDF. So what we can do is simply type in the VLE URL that we got. And we can just type ENG4U VLE. You can put in the access day, month, year, but you don't necessarily have. Here's what we have. We have it typed up, and now we can insert either in-text citation, or we can insert that bibliography. So the challenge with this is, because it's different than the EasyBib that we did before, we just need to do a few little touch-ups here. It's not a bibliography. It is most certainly a works cited, and we need to go alphabetical. So what we can do is we can simply copy and paste, cut and paste, I should say. And I'm going to quickly fix that by formatting it just this way. And there I have my two sources. I have them both, and we can just go back here. Now that I have that in there, I can correct that up. I've now got Hamlet and Sophocles, and when you look here, I have both of those sources that you can find the textual information as to where I got those sources. So just a random tutorial as to how to do MLA citation and the information you will need to complete your essay.